is Focus with Jack Caudill.
Hi, I'm Jack Caudill, and welcome to this month's edition of Focus. We're talking about wellness this month, as August is National Wellness Month. 3 guests with us to talk about that tonight. Dr. Jennifer Strasburg, she is with Family Medicine at Monument Health. Tammy Arens-Beauchamp, she's the Director of Counseling and Family Services at Behavior Management Systems here in Rapid City. And Nicole Craig, she is the Group Exercise Coordinator at the Rapid City YMCA. As again I mentioned a second ago, August is National Wellness Month. Wellness.com defines wellness as the realization of our true potential to live a healthier, happier, and more successful existence. They list the top dimensions of wellness as mental, physical, spiritual, social, and lifestyle. Dr. Strasburg, I'm going to start with you. When you talk about wellness, what do you think of when you talk about wellness? You said that's one of the things that you guys focus on at Monument.
Absolutely. As family medicine, wellness is one of the things that we really focus on. And wellness can mean, as you mentioned, a lot of different things. Mostly from our standpoint, we want to focus on physical and mental wellness. So for us, we really want to encourage our patients or anyone in the community really to make sure that they're doing annual wellness exams. And that's the time when we can really spend some time with our patients and make sure that we're doing all the screening things that are appropriate for their age group, make sure they're up to date on immunizations, kind of review blood pressure, weight, all the things that kind of go into wellness and general health, and then kind of focusing on some specific things that maybe we need to work on during those visits. So lots of things kind of go into wellness.
And again, Tammy Arens-Beauchamp with Behavior Management System, you guys focusing on mental health. From that perspective, what do you look at wellness as being?
I think when we look at wellness through mental health, we really look at self-care as far as mental health, taking care of yourself, taking breaks, paying attention to when you're stressed and doing things to help alleviate some of that stress. We really look at the busy world we're in right now, and with COVID and everything else, it's just we really need to start paying attention to our stress level and things like that, and along with the physical piece of it and the medical piece of it, paying attention to getting out there and exercising, what things are good for us as far as our mental health.
And Nicole Craig with the Rapid City YMCA, before we come on, you said, I get paid to work out. From an exercise perspective, how does that fit in to wellness?
Wellness to us is the definition of being able to do your daily activities and to still have the ability to do the things that you enjoy. So let's say somebody really enjoys gardening or they really enjoy hiking. If they are physically well enough, they can go through their weekly activities and do what is required of them for their job or for their very existence and still have the energy left over on the weekends to be, okay, now I'm going to go weed that flower garden, or I'm going to plant, 15 tomato plants, or I'm going to go hiking with my kids, so that at the end of your work week, you're not exhausted and just in a slump and you don't have the time or the energy to do what you want to do. So physical wellness to me is the ability to be able to do what I need to do to get through the week and still have my weekends, not necessarily a weekend warrior, but still have the time and the energy to do the activities that I enjoy, that reinvigorate me.
Now, Dr. Strasburg, you mentioned earlier talking about the things that you guys do, those wellness exams. How important is that, and how often do people need to do that for kids, middle-aged, adults, all through that cycle?
Great question. So wellness exams, we want to do those once a year. And we want to do them for all ages. We have well babies and well child and well adolescents, as well as adult wellness exams, and then our Medicare wellness as well. And those are so important because it really does give us the time to look at kind of how our health is overall and to catch up on, blood pressure and weight and how our patients are feeling, not only from a physical standpoint, a mental health standpoint. We kind of screen for that as well. And then we also do kind of annual screenings for healthcare maintenance things like mammograms and colon cancer screening, as well as things like immunizations that are important to stay up on all through life. So those are really important exams, and good to keep a regular schedule annually. And that's just a good time to really, you also get to know your provider and they get to know you. So, you kind of establish a relationship there going forward.
Now you're talking about doing that every year. How big of a difference can that make in catching something now rather than 2 years in, 3 years in, 4 years in?
Yeah, that's a great thing. Some of these things are not always present with overt symptoms. Like colon cancer screenings, we'll do a colonoscopy for the guidelines, and someone may come in and say, I feel great, I have no issues, my appetite's great, I'm eating good, I feel good, and then we may do a colonoscopy and find something early on. And if we can find it and get it out of there before it causes any problems, that's ideal. So staying up on that is really important. What's
the biggest challenge in getting people into that habit and getting them to actually come in the door and do that?
Great question. Yeah, a lot of, it's hard to get to the doctor, I think, sometimes. We all have really busy lives. Like I said, we have a lot going on, and I think it's really easy to push that off and say, I'll do it later, or I'm just too busy right now. But I think making your health a priority is kind of, hopefully we can kind of talk to people and convince them to do that. But just making time for, or making it a habit. I would say, oh, I did this last October. It's October and I need to do my wellness again this time of year. So kind of keeping on a schedule really helps too.
Now, Tammy, again, you guys focusing on mental health. How does that play into the whole wellness cycle, and what problems can that present with wellness, with problems if they're ignored?
I think the important piece is when we think of mental health, a lot of the times people don't look at coming in until there's a big problem. They're depressed or they're anxious. I can't get out of bed, I'm tired. And really the important part, with the self-care and the physical piece of it, it's just so important if stress is an issue, or just, having a rough day. Sometimes just coming in and visiting with someone, sometimes being able just to visit and talk about some of those signs and symptoms, to catch it early before it is a debilitating depression or anxiety or things like that. If you can come in and say, I'm just not quite feeling myself, I'm a little bit less energetic, or a little bit this, or more worried, and things like that. If we can catch that again early on, it really does help to catch that for the wellness, and put in some extra things for wellness, whether it's exercise or things like that, before we really have to look at, hey, this is serious, what can we do?
Are there additional challenges with mental health to get people to come in? Are there stigmas that they have to overcome? Like, I can't, that's not something that I have to deal with?
Definitely. There's still a big stigma out there for mental health, especially, again, unless it's severe to the point where I'm not getting out of bed or I can't function. And again, men especially, there's a bigger stigma, I should be able to handle this, really shows up for the patients that we work with. And really, if we could get it early, and a lot of the times we talk about coming early, talk about things, address it, we can really come up with some really good ideas.
Nicole, in terms of the physical activity part of it, how does that fit into wellness? How important is that?
We are all a puzzle piece, and to get the whole picture, we all have to work together. And if we don't make time for our wellness, if we don't have the time for our wellness, whether it's physical activity, mental health, then we're going to be forced to have to make that time for our illness. So with the physical part, I look at it from the standpoint of, gosh, when we were babies, we all sat up straight and tall, and none of us were slouched. And then as adults, we begin to have trouble getting up off the floor, and we kind of hunch over, and that's what our lifestyle has done to us. So when we quit being physical, we literally quit being physical. If we don't make the time to do some physical activity, we lose those abilities to do them. We lose the ability to sit up straight and tall. We lose the ability to run, to jump. And I'm not saying that you have to run and jump in order to be physically fit, but our joints, our range of motion slows down, our flexibility gets smaller. We need to be able to use our joints and their full range of motion and the muscles, and the only way to do that is to keep using them, to keep being physically active.
Does it have to be some kind of regimented, hardcore
No.
exercise, weightlifting kind of thing?
It does not. I mean, the best thing for people to do is what they will do. If it's walking your dog 3 miles after work every day, that is it. That is the perfect start. Now your body becomes super efficient at that, and then so maybe you want to walk your dog 4 miles, but you have to pick something that you enjoy doing. And it doesn't have to be what I do. It doesn't have to be what you do. It has to be something that you will consistently do. Consistency, when we talk about physical activity, is more important than what we're doing, as long as we keep doing it. What I do today is going to help me 3 months down the road.
Sometimes I enjoy walking my dog. Sometimes she affects my mental health. That's a whole other topic. We'll continue our look at wellness when we come back with this month's edition of Focus. I'm Jack Caudill. Welcome back to this month's edition of Focus, talking about wellness, as August is National Wellness Month. Tammy Arens-Beauchamp is the Director of Counseling and Family Services at Behavior Management System. You know, we talked about the medical and the mental health and the exercise. How are those all tied together? How important is that? How can the exercise affect the mental health? How can physical affect the mental health?
Very much so. As you were talking, when I was thinking, when people don't exercise, or we start to get to the point where our muscles aren't wanting to work as much, or we're feeling a little more tired, that can start to weigh on people. Getting more frustrated, and that, gosh, here I am, I can't even do this like I used to do that, and that starts to weigh on people. And then as far as even the physical, again, it starts to play into what is going on with me. When we get clients who really have a medical issue going on and really start to worry and get anxiety or depression, some of those can bring our mental illness or our mental feelings worse, just because we worry and we feel like, what's going to happen to me, what's going on. So really we want to tie all that together, and a lot of the times there's lots of research out there that talks about using exercise as one of the best forms for self-care and for positive mental health, and keeping up on your physical health, making sure you're doing the things you need to do yearly and things like that really does set a positive mindset. And I think that's the big piece with mental health, is that positive mindset.
Nicole Craig is the group exercise coordinator at the Rapid City YMCA. You work with a lot of people down there. How do you see the exercise part affecting people's mental health and their medical, physical health?
Gosh, I love the fact when we exercise, when we're physically active, we produce more serotonin, and serotonin is your feel-good chemical that the body naturally produces. So I see it on a daily basis. Somebody who comes in, nobody ever says, man, I regret doing that workout. But people do say, I regret not doing that workout. If you can get yourself to start the activity, that is steps ahead of somebody who is still sitting on the couch. You're gonna feel better, even if you just did 5 to 10 minutes of your scheduled workout, than if you did nothing. So we see people come into the facility and they're just like, oh, hey, how's it going? Well, it's a Monday. And then by the time that they're done, you're like, hey, thanks for coming in. And they're like, oh, man, I'm so glad I came in. And the smiles, we see more smiles as people leave than when people come in to the gym to do their workouts, or even the group exercise classes. People come in and they kind of weave and they get their spot and they're like, all right, let's go. And then once they start going, once the blood starts flowing and there's more oxygen coming into the body, and then when class is done, it's always, oh man, that was awesome. Did you see I almost fell? Yeah, that was hilarious. I mean, everybody just loves it. So once you work out, you will feel better just by moving. And I see that on a daily basis.
Now, you shoot exercise segments for us
Yes.
once a month, and you're about as upbeat of a person as I can remember. How much is that tied to working out? Are you different?
It is
Are you different when
100%.
you're working out than if you get some time where you can't?
No, I'm not. Oh, well, wait, am I different when I work out
after a
than when I
workout?
don't?
Yeah, if you
Yes.
have a few days where you can't.
There's never been a
exercise.
few days.
Okay.
I have always scheduled my workouts because I'm a big believer that I am the way that I am because I am as physically active as I am. And I'm not saying that people have to be as physically active as I am, but I do know that if I was not physically active, I would not be in a very happy place. And I recognized that early on, and that might be why I'm still in the health and wellness field 25 years later, was I need this physical activity to make me function, to make me a happier person, to make those around me happier, because I'm not going to be.
Yep.
So.
Dr. Jennifer Strasburg is with Family Medicine at Monument Health. How does the mental health component, you talk about the wellness exams, but how does the mental health and the exercise contribute to what you guys deal with as medical doctors?
Absolutely. Well, like these guys pointed out, they all work together. You know, the physical health, the mental health, exercise for us is also a huge thing. It's something I talk about with patients all the time, is the importance of getting exercise, physical activity, getting out, getting moving, because it's so important not only just for your physical well-being, but mental well-being as well. And they go hand in hand together. And as she pointed out, you see people's moods improve as their physical fitness improves. Even if they start slow and they start just getting out a couple of minutes a day, and then they start to feel a little bit better, and that tends to make them not only physically feel better, but emotionally, mentally feel a little bit better. And you can kind of see some of the progression for the people that make it a priority and put some effort in. And it's so good to see, and it's so important from a general wellness standpoint to collaborate with the exercise team and our mental health team to push exercise and to push getting out there and interacting not only with if you're going to go to the YMCA, you get to interact with health coaches and your fellow people from the community, and so it's fun to see people do that, and it's very important. We really try to encourage it.
Now, how can mental health manifest itself physically and affect you physically?
Oftentimes we'll see people who are really struggling with their mental health, just their energy level is so down. They just say, I feel so fatigued, I feel so tired, I ache, I hurt. And sometimes we won't find a physical cause for that. We will find that it's tied to mental health and that they're not doing well, they're depressed, they're really feeling down. And if we can kind of work on addressing some of the mental stuff that's going on and encouraging them to meet with a counselor or to even incorporate some exercise. I find exercise is really important for mental health and depression and things like that. Oftentimes that's some of the first steps that we say is get out and let's get some exercise and see if that
First steps.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes. I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, to say, hey, let's get you out. Let's go out for a walk, even if it's 10 minutes. Let's see if that can kind of perk you up a little bit and get you moving. And sometimes, like you said, that's how we kind of try to incorporate that mental health and address that, because it can really physically take its toll.
All right, so how do you get all this started? We'll look at that when we continue with this month's edition of Focus. I'm Jack Caudill. Welcome back to this month's edition of Focus, talking about wellness, with August being National Wellness Month. Nicole Craig is the group exercise coordinator at the Rapid City YMCA. All right, somebody has just been sitting around for a long, long time. How do you get started in going in the right direction?
You come into the YMCA and you say, hey, I need to talk to Nicole, or I need to talk to somebody down in wellness. And we're going to ask you, hey, welcome. What do you not like to do? Because everybody has this misconception of, oh, in order to get fit, I have to run a marathon or I have to lift heavy weights. And if I find out what somebody doesn't like to do, then I'm not going to have them do that. Like I mentioned earlier, the best form of exercise somebody can do is something that they will do, something that they want to do. So once I find out some limitations, whether it's range of motion or flexibility issues, or they just flat out don't like a particular exercise, then I can go from there and we can start a foundation of, all right, well, let's start with walking. Oh, I don't like the treadmill because it's, it makes me feel like I'm going to fall down. Okay, we have a walking track upstairs or a running track, or you can walk around gymnasiums. or maybe you just want to walk around your neighborhood. Walking is an excellent form of exercise. And it's free. You get sunshine, so you're getting your vitamin D, you're getting lower body workout, you're getting an upper body workout because you have to hold yourself up. You're getting the sunshine. It's tremendous. So we like to start people out where they can start. I'll meet you where you are. I'm not going to make you do something that physically or mentally you're not ready for yet. We meet you where you are and we find an activity that you can do, because once you have success in something, no matter how small or how great it is, then you're more willing to take that next step. You're like, you know what, I walked 20 minutes on the treadmill, or I did 20 minutes on an arc trainer. I think I'd like to try a dance class. They can hang out in the back corner, whatever, do the dance class, and they're like, I really enjoyed that. Next thing you know, they move from the back of the class to the front of the class, and then that's where I get my best instructors from people that are like, I never thought that I could do this.
Now, as the population ages, what do we do for the older group?
There is no age limit to exercise. So no matter what age you are, there is something for you to do, and we will find something for you to do. So we've got the 55 plus hiking groups that meet once a month, that you even get a free lunch. We'll feed you to come hike with us. I mean, it's just fantastic. We get people out of doors. I've got strength and balance classes. That's a big issue that I'm seeing right now, is a lot of people that have spent a lot of time indoors the past couple of years are like, oh, my balance is really off. And my first question is, hey, it doesn't matter if you're wobbling, that is the balance. Balance is the ability to not fall over. So if you can walk or you can stand on one leg even if you're wobbling and you're not falling over, that's a start. And that's where we go from. So fall prevention, strength and balance, just getting out and moving are all perfect places to start. You don't have to come in. I'm not going to make you run a marathon on a treadmill, I promise.
Tammy Arens-Beauchamp is the Director of Counseling and Family Services at Behavior Management Systems. If somebody needs to try to bring mental health, what's the first step? What's the first step that they take?
As far as just addressing their mental health?
Right. How do you start?
You know, a lot of the times there's all kinds of things. You can talk to a friend, or you know, if they feel like, gosh, it's more than just talking to my neighbor or my friend. You know, find someone in the community that you trust or that you know about, and give a call and just find out. You know, let them know, this is kind of what I'm going through. What can you offer me? And usually that most people will, you know, find something and find someone that they connect with.
And Dr. Jennifer Strasburg is with Family Medicine at Monument Health. If somebody doesn't have a regular family doctor, hasn't been for a long time, what do you do?
Well, first of all, we just thank them for coming in half the time, because that's sometimes the hardest part, is just getting in. And usually we just say, what can we do for you? You know, what is bothering you? What can we do to help you today? You know, and usually start from there. And sometimes it's just, hey, I'm worried about my general health. And then, you know, we kind of look at how they're feeling and what some of their complaints are, and kind of go from there. So.
Is it ever too late?
Never too late. No, never too late. I mean, I think that obviously we have different concerns at different stages in life, but you know, we have some people who have been really fortunate and had good health, and they're just like, I don't need to go to the doctor. But you know, we are at any age. You know, there's always things we can look at and improve. You know, oh, you're doing great, but your balance is a little bit off. Let's maybe get you out and get you to do some gait training or some balance training, or work on strengthening those legs a little bit more. So
we are out of time. Dr. Jennifer Strasburg, Tammy Arens-Beauchamp, and Nicole Craig, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again the first Sunday night of next month. Good night.